First order of business is to find where your bypass valve is located. Then trace the hoses back from the bypass valve to find which side is the charge side and which side is the recirculation side. Seeing as that is our bottom charge pipe, the bottom hose going into our bypass valve is our charge side. That will come into play once we get it disconnected and go to put our blow-off valve back in its place. Just a note, those hose clamps, one-time use from Audi, are a pain, so have a good pair of dikes or side cutters handy. I'm even side cutting sheet metal cutters. Next, cut the hose clamps holding all those hoses in place. This right here will be your vacuum reference for your blow-off valve or your bypass valve, depending on what you're running. This will be the charge side of your blow-off valve. It's where you'll actually place the bottom port of the blow-off valve. This hose, which is a pain to get off as well as even get to, is the recirc side of your bypass valve. It will actually need to be plugged until you plan on removing your SAI system, or your air box rather. The plug doesn't have to be fancy. I happen to find this piece of wood down there. It happens to be the perfect size to plug the hole. So I snipped off a piece of it and I'm going to stick it in that hole to plug it until I remove the SAIS system and my air box in future videos. It won't be pretty, but it'll do the job for now and serve its purpose. So the next step will be to move on to installing your blow-off valve or upgraded bypass valve. Now we're moving on to installing our blow-off valve. At this point I've installed my plug for the recirc hose that we're no longer going to be using with an removable clamp this time. Make life a whole lot easier on us in the future. I've also taken the liberty to install our vacuum feed onto the blow-off valve, our vacuum reference line. That's the line holding the top of the blow-off valve itself. Now we're going to put the blow-off valve into its place. Now we have the blow-off valve installed into the charge pipe hose, where it's going to live its life from now on. What this will do, this will basically just allow the air that we build in our charge pipe, once the throttle plate is shut and the air tries to go back through the charge pipe, it will allow it to vent straight to the atmosphere. Gives us a cool noise and basically does the same thing as a bypass valve does for your shifts and helps protect your turbo. Now time to test it. A little bit of noise. Rev it up to build a little pressure. Or makes cool choo-choo noises, as some other YouTubers know.